Hello, and welcome to the inaugural Zoom production of the Palm Beach Shores Players. We are a group of amateur theater buffs who have joined together to entertain ourselves, and hopefully you, during the pandemic. Our first production is the 1941 play Arsenic and Old Lace by Joseph Kesselring. It's a gentle comedy about a couple of maiden aunts who have found a unique solution to the loneliness of their male lodgers. We've taken some liberties with the script. First, because it's a Zoom production, we added a narrator to help you follow the action. Second, we moved the story from Brooklyn to Atlanta in keeping with our Southern location and accents. And third, we streamlined the story and updated the 1941 references to be more current. We are having a lot of fun learning how to be actors on Zoom. For your entertainment, we left some of the outtakes in, so enjoy the show.
First, pour a glass of elderberry wine, add a pinch of arsenic, a soup song of cyanide, and then. But first, let's take a look at the house where it all may have happened. We're in the living room of a lovely old colonial mansion on Peachtree Street in Atlanta, and it's been the home of the Brewster family for more than 150 years. It's where Aunt Abby and Aunt Martha host gentlemen for tea. Ladies and gentlemen, the Palm Beach Shores Players announce our inaugural Zoom production of Arsenic and Old Lace, with Tricia Blash and Myra Cootson as Aunts Abby and Martha, Roby Durrell as the Reverend Dr. Harper, Marcia Cohen as Elaine Harper, Bob Stanton as Teddy Roosevelt Brewster, Art Pumpian as Mortimer Brewster, Jerry Cohen as Jonathan Brewster, Mark Ward as Mr. Gibbs, Mary Stanton as Ulla Einstein, Kathleen McGarren as Officer Brophy, Rick Kohlmeyer as Officer Klein, Steve Langevin as Officer O'Hara, Ike Van Solen as Lieutenant Rooney, and myself, Robert Halkett, as the narrator and Mr. Witherspoon. Act 1, Scene 1, the Brewster living room in the not too distant past. Allow me to set the scene. We enter to see Miss Abby, her nephew Teddy, and the Reverend Dr. Harper. They're at a small table in front of a window seat which is large enough to contain, well, we shall see. The window above this seat opens to a pleasant, well-populated cemetery outside. The front door leads to Peachtree Street, and across the living room is a swinging door that leads to the kitchen, and next to that, a sturdy door to the basement. We now join Aunt Abby, a Brewster, the local minister, Dr. Harper, and Teddy for tea.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Harper. My sister Martha and I have been talking all week about that wonderful sermon Sunday. It was just wonderful, wasn't it, Teddy?
Bully.
In only 2 short years, you have taken on the spirit of Atlanta.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster. And if I may say so, it's equally gratifying to be here in your lovely home. It's very peaceful.
It is very peaceful here, isn't it?
The virtues of another day, they're all here in this house.
Why, Dr. Harper, it's one of the oldest houses in Atlanta. Grandfather Brewster built and finished it, and it's just exactly as it was, well, with the exception of electricity, and we use as little of that as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to do that.
Yes, I can understand the attraction. Your nephew Mortimer seems to live only by electric light.
Being a drama critic means the poor boy has to stay out so late. Well, I understand he's taking your daughter Elaine to the theater with him again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here in just a little while to pick up Elaine.
Delighted. Splendid girl.
We're so happy that Mortimer takes Elaine to the theater with him.
Well, it's a new experience for me to wait up until 3 o'clock in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I certainly hope you don't disapprove.
Well,
we'd feel so guilty if you did, my sister Martha and I, because you know it was right here in our house that they first met.
Of course, Miss Abby, and I'll say immediately that I believe Mortimer himself to be quite a worthy gentleman. But I must also admit that I've watched the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation. For one reason, Miss Abby, I'm speaking of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
Well, he's not one of those terrible actors. Oh, no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer is a drama critic for the Atlanta Constitution, and that
know,
is a
Miss
very
Abby.
fine newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know, but drama critics are constantly exposed to the theater, and I don't doubt that most of them do develop an interest in it.
Well, not Mortimer. Why, he hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes, he writes awful things in his reviews, but he says one day that the theater just can't last much longer, maybe more, another year or two. Yes, I think if we give it a chance, it's another year or two. Well, now, who do you think that is? No, thank you, Teddy. I'll go.
The Brewsters are a popular family, especially with the police, and most of their visits have to do with Teddy's bugle. Aunt Abby rises and goes to the door to let the visitors in.
Well, it's Officer Brophy and Officer Klein.
Hello, Miss Brewster.
Hiya, Miss Brewster.
Gentlemen, you've come to report. What news have the troops brought me today?
Mr. President, we have nothing to report.
Splendid. Thank you, gentlemen. At ease.
We've come for the toys for the Christmas fund, Miss Brewster.
That's splendid work you do, man. Fixing up discarded toys to give poor children a happier Christmas.
Gives us something to do when we have to sit around the station. You get tired playing cards, then you start cleaning your gun, and the first thing you know, bam, you shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, please go upstairs and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room.
As you wish. Charge!
Mr. President, you promised not to do that.
I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies. I shall charge up San Juan Hill and return.
Thank you,
sir.
Teddy heads upstairs to fetch the toys. These forays are usually always accompanied by a trumpet blast, which, I'm afraid, often attracts the attention of the police.
Miss Abby, the neighbor's raising Cain with us. When he blows that damn thing in the middle of the night, they're a little afraid of him, too.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Yeah, who cares if he thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt? There's a lot worse people he could be. His father, the old girl's brother, was sort of a genius, wasn't he? And their father, his grandfather, seems I heard he was a little crazy, too.
Yeah, he was crazy like a fox. Klein, he made 20 million bucks.
Really? Here in Atlanta?
Yeah, patent medicine. He was kind of a quack. Used the house here as some sort of clinic. Tried the doses out on people.
Yeah, although I heard he used to make lethal mistakes once in a while.
Not more than one or two. The department never bothered him much. He was pretty useful on autopsies, especially the poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his daughters fixed for life.
Not that they ever spend any of it themselves.
Yes, I'm well acquainted with their charities. They are big supporters of our church.
You don't know a tenth of it, Padre. Do you know there's a rental agency over there that's got this house on its list for furnished rooms for elderly gentlemen? Ladies don't really rent rooms, but you can bet that any old gent who comes here looking for a room goes away with a good meal and a couple of bucks in his pocket.
It's just the Brewster way, digging up people to do some good for.
This happy family setting wouldn't be complete without the other Brewster aunt, Martha, who has just returned from a visit to the cemetery. Here she is now.
Oh, hello, everyone. Well, now, isn't this nice?
Good afternoon, Miss Brewster.
How nice to see you, Officer Brophy, Dr. Harper, Officer Klein.
We dropped by to get the Christmas toys.
The president's upstairs after them. Good, here he comes now. Geez, that's a pretty big box of toys he's carrying.
Here's the ordnance, men. Take great care of the ammo.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Another successful mission accomplished. I must return to the hill. Charge.
Teddy charges back upstairs to do goodness knows what in his White House.
Well, thank you for the toys, ma'am. We'll be off now to the precinct.
Now, you all make good use of those toys, officers. Goodbye.
Aunt Abby sees the officer to the door and returns to Mr. Harper, who gives in to his curiosity.
San Juan Hill, Miss Martha?
Well, the stairs are always San Juan Hill to Teddy.
Have you ever tried to persuade him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no.
He's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt.
Well, if he's happy, and what's more important, you're happy, you'll see he signs these.
What is this?
Dr. Harper has made all the arrangements for Teddy to go to Happy Dale Sanatorium after we pass.
But why should Teddy sign the papers now?
It's better to have it all settled beforehand. If the Lord should take you away suddenly, we might not be able to persuade Teddy to commit himself. That would mean a somewhat unpleasant legal procedure. Mr. Witherspoon understands these papers are to be filed away until the commitment becomes urgent.
And who's this Mr. Witherspoon?
The superintendent of Happydale.
And Dr. Harper has arranged for him to come by tomorrow afternoon to meet Teddy.
Well, I suppose we should see him. My goodness, look at the time. Thank you, Dr. Harper. I know you need to be running along.
Well, yes, indeed. It is so pleasant here. I hope it didn't overstay my welcome. Well, I better be running along or Elaine will be over here looking for me.
Oh, please give Elaine our love.
Dr. Harper leaves to return home, unaware that he has tarried at tea too long and of the problems this will cause, because Abby has been unable to complete a fairly urgent task.
Did you just have tea, Abby? Isn't it rather late for that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I had 2 teas, one with Mr. Hoskins and then another with Dr. Harper, who dropped in without a by your leave. He did go on. So Martha, dinner's going to be late too.
2? Why? Surely we won't be that late. Is there something more we need to know? And who is this Mr. Hoskins?
Oh, you'll see. Teddy, could you come downstairs for a moment?
Delighted to.
Teddy charges back down San Juan Hill in a rush. He's fond of his aunts and ready for anything.
Oh, Teddy, good news for you. You're going to Panama to dig another lock for the canal.
The first tea? You didn't.
Delighted to support the cause. That's bully, just bully. I shall surveil the canal at once. Another lock, you say?
Yes, Teddy, as quickly as you can. Now mind yourself going on the steps. That first step's loose. And be sure to shut the cellar door.
Teddy clatters downstairs to the cellar to determine if there's enough room for, well, you'll see in a moment.
Abby, another lock for this Mr. Hoskins? You managed while I was out, all by yourself?
I certainly did. Of course, it did mean that I had to have 2 teas. And I have to quite say that I'm just quite full, but that's no matter. I really couldn't manage all by myself. Why, there was no time to get Mr. Hoskins downstairs before Dr. Harper showed up for tea. And anyway, I was all alone.
Well, where is he?
Oh, just look in the window seat.
But there's no time for the Brewster aunts to open the window seat. Dr. Harper's daughter Elaine, their charming next-door neighbor, finds the window above the seat a handy way to enter the Brewster home.
Yoo-hoo! Coming through. Oh, this window, it gets so tight. Good afternoon, Miss Martha and Miss Abby.
Oh my goodness, dear, you startled me.
I'm so sorry. I'm here to wait for Mortimer. He's going to take me to theater tonight.
Well, come on in and sit down. Mortimer was brought up to know better. When a gentleman takes a young lady out, he should call for her at her house, not insist that she go to his.
Oh, I don't mind a bit. After all the men I've dated whose idea of nightlife is to take me to prayer meetings, it's wonderful to go to the theater.
If Mortimer has to see those rude plays, he has to see at least he's sitting next to a minister's daughter.
The doorbell rings again. This time, it's another nephew, Mortimer, scourge of the local theater.
Hello, aunties. Hello, Elaine.
Mortimer, darling.
How are you, dear? My goodness, Elaine's pretty dress is going to end up a real sight if you keep hugging her like that.
Right you are, Aunt Martha. You both look well.
Well, we haven't changed much since yesterday.
Oh my goodness, it was yesterday, wasn't it? We're seeing a great deal of you lately now that you're seeing so much of Elaine. Abby, haven't we something to do in the kitchen?
Beg your pardon, Mother?
You know, the tea things.
Oh, yes, the tea things. Well, you two just make yourselves comfortable. Just.
Make yourselves right at home.
Always civil, the aunts gather up the tea tray, retreat to the kitchen, and leave our young lovers alone.
Now, darling, where do you want to go for dinner?
Oh, I don't care, darling. I'm not very hungry.
Suppose we wait till after the show.
That'll make it pretty late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker I'm supposed to review tonight. From what I've heard about it, we'll be out of the Schubert Theater by the end of Act 1.
You know, you ought to be more fair to those plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. Musicals somehow have a humanizing effect on you. After a serious play, we join the proletariat in the subway, and I listen to a lecture on the drama. After a musical, you bring me home in a taxi and make a few passes. I have to admit a fondness for musicals.
Darling, I've always liked the fact that for a minister's daughter, you know a lot about life. Where'd you learn it?
In the choir loft.
So that explains it. Although I've not been able to explain it to myself.
What?
My falling in love with a virginal girl.
Falling in love?
No, I've come to the conclusion, despite what you learned in the choir loft, that you're holding out for the legalities. Elaine, darling, will you marry me?
Marry? Oh, I can afford to be a good girl for a few years yet.
And I can't wait that long. Where could we be married in a hurry, say, tonight? And if we can find a place to get married, be sure to tell your father not to wait up tonight.
I think I better tell him to wait up for me. And tonight's a little too soon. But yes, Mortimer, I'll marry you.
Darling, all right. Everything formal and legal. But I don't want to wait too long. No longer than next month.
Darling, I'll talk it over with Father and set a date. Oh, my goodness, I better get going. Here's your brother Teddy coming downstairs.
Hello, Mortimer.
How are you, Mr. President?
Bully, thank you, just bully. What news have you brought me?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama.
Mind that first step to the cellar, it's loose. Elaine, he digs the locks for the Panama Canal down there. Teddy was always my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There is another brother, Jonathan.
Your Nance never mention him.
No, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left very early, by request. Jonathan was the nasty kind of boy who cuts worms in two with his teeth.
Oh, good grief. Whatever became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to become a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first. So his propensity for unlicensed surgical procedures got him into trouble. The aunts don't like to be reminded of it. Quiet now. Here's Abby.
Mortimer, aren't you and Elaine going out to eat? Won't you be late for the theater?
Oh, we're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for half an hour.
Then I'm going to run over to speak to Father, darling, about our plans. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little bit. I'll be right back. I'll just cut through the cemetery.
And Elaine exits the way she came in, through the window, above the window seat.
I do wish Elaine would use the door instead of the window seat, but she is such a dear girl, and Mortimer, she is such a good influence on you.
Oh, yes? Well, good influence or not, I'm going to marry her.
Marry Elaine? Oh, Martha, come here.
What is it, dear?
The most wonderful news. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married.
Married? Oh, Mortimer. Well, Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy? Just look at her leaping over those gravestones.
Oh, when Elaine comes back, we must have a toast in celebration.
Oh, and to think it happened in this room. A toast is just the thing. I'll just go back in the kitchen and fetch the wine glasses, shall I?
Thank you, dear. I know I have a nice little bottle of wine over here in the cupboard somewhere. Let me look.
By the way, Aunt Abby, I left a large envelope around here last week. Have you seen it?
No, dear, I haven't seen an envelope.
Where would I have put that?
With your fiance sitting beside you tonight, I do hope you see a play is something you can enjoy for once. Maybe something romantic. What's the name of the play?
Murder Will Out.
Oh dear, how lurid.
When the curtain goes up, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body. Totally ridiculous. Maybe that envelope got shoved into the window seat.
Mortimer lifts the lid of the window seat, only to get a very unpleasant surprise.
Aunt Abby, what's this? Aunt Martha, come back in here.
What is it, dear?
Mortimer, are you all right?
You two are going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, Happydale.
Yes, dear, it's all arranged. Dr. Hopper was here today and he brought the papers for Teddy to sign.
Well, he's got to sign them right away. Teddy's down in the cellar, isn't he? You got to get him up here right away.
No, dear, when Teddy starts working on the canal, you can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happydale now, tonight.
How can you say such a thing?
Listen, darlings, and frankly, I'm sorry, but I've got some shocking news for you. Now, we want to try and keep our heads. You know, we sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless. He's not harmless anymore. That's why he has to go to Happydale, why he has to be confined.
Why, Mortimer, have you turned against your own brother?
You've got to know sometime. Might as well be now. Teddy's killed a man.
Oh, nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Well, yes, dear, we know.
You know,
Of course, dear, and it has nothing to do with Teddy.
but who is he?
Well, his name's Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That really is about all I know about him, except, well, he is a Methodist.
And that he's dead.
Aunt Martha, men don't just hop into window seats and die.
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
Poisoned wine?
Well, we put it in wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Hopper was coming. And that meant that I had to have tea twice. Now that you know the whole thing, just forget about it. I do think that Martha and I have a right to our own little secrets.
Oh, what am I going to do? What are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
I can't turn you over to the police. I've got to do something.
Well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited and stop behaving yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
Well, Mr. Hotchkiss,
Hodgkins, dear.
whatever his name is, you can't leave him there.
Well, we don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's down in the cellar digging a lot now.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Yes, dear, that's what we did with the others.
You can't bury Mr. Others.
The other gentleman.
When you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
Let me see. This is 11, isn't it, Abby?
No, dear, it's 12. When Mr. Hawkins first came in for tea, he came to us looking for a room. So handy, that advertisement that we took out. Anyway, it occurred to me that this would be an even dozen.
Well, anyway, 11 or 12, they're all down in the cellar.
All right. Now, who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist.
Of course, we can't claim full credit for him because he just died.
Martha means without any help from us. Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room, and it didn't seem quite right for our lovely guest room to be going to waste.
We felt so sorry for him.
And then when he had his heart attack, He sat dead as a doornail right here in that chair. Remember, Martha? We made up our minds then, if we could help other lonely old men, we would.
He dropped dead right in that chair?
It was just like old times. Your grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two around the house. Those were great times. And anyway, Teddy has been digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim, so...
Which meant that he had to be buried right away.
So contagious yellow fever. So we take our gentlemen down to Panama and we put them in one of Teddy's locks.
And that's how all this started? That man Midgley walking in here and dropping dead?
Of course, we realized that we couldn't get that lucky every time, so we put an ad in the newspaper for a gentleman's room to rent.
And you remember those jars of poison that had been on the shelves in Grandfather's laboratory all those years?
Your Aunt Martha's got a knack for mixing things up. Why, Mortimer, you've eaten enough of her chicken and biscuits to know how clever she is.
I developed an excellent recipe. For a gallon of elderberry wine, I use 1 teaspoonful of arsenic, then add a half teaspoonful of strychnine, and then just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
So that explains it all, Mortimer. No need to fuss. Oh, and here comes Elaine. We'll leave you two alone. I'm sure her father had quite a surprise about your engagement. Now we need to get dinner started in the kitchen, and here she comes through that window again.
Martha and Abby make a discreet withdrawal to the kitchen, tactfully leaving the lovers alone.
Darling, I'm back.
Oh, it's you.
Don't be cross, darling. Father could see that I was excited, so I told him about our engagement, and it made it hard for me to get away. It's going to take him a while to get used to it. You know, he just doesn't approve of you, dear.
You run along home, Elaine. I'll call you tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
You know, whatever. I always call you every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No, we're not.
Well, why not?
Something's come up.
Mortimer, have you lost your job?
No, I haven't lost my job. But I can't review that play tonight. I've got to call Al and find someone to cover for me. Run along home, Elaine.
What's happened? You can tell me.
No, I can't.
But if we're going to be married, of course you can tell me.
Married?
15 minutes ago, you proposed to me.
Oh, yeah, that. Well, as far as I know, that's still on. Go home, Elaine. I've got important things to do.
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and then throw me out of the house the next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house, darling. Will you just get out of here?
No, I won't just get out of here. Not until I've had some kind of an explanation.
Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl. I love you. But go home. Wait there till I call you.
Don't try to pull that masterful baloney on me. And when we're married, if we are married, I hope I find you a little more considerate. No, forget it. I'm just not sure I want to be married to you at all.
And Elaine exits in quite a temper.
Oh, my Lord, that's torn it. I'd better go after her.
Our hapless hero follows Elaine out of the window and through the cemetery. In the meantime, there's yet another visitor at the door.
We're in the kitchen. Mortimer, can you get the door?
Now, where did that Mortimer go? Oh my goodness, Martha. Come in here. If it's not one thing.
Abby opens the front door to reveal an unexpected guest.
Hello to you, sir. How do you do? Please come in.
I saw the advertisement in the newspaper. I understand you have a room to rent. Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I'm Miss Brewster. And here's my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Gibbs.
Well, Mr. Gibbs, won't you sit down?
I've come to see the room.
Well, why don't you sit down for a bit and let us get acquainted?
That won't do much good if I don't like the room.
Now, you do sit down here, Mr. Gibbs. Is Atlanta your home?
Haven't got a home. Live in a hotel. Don't like it.
Are your family Georgia people?
Haven't got any family.
All alone in the world, Mr. Gibbs?
Yep. Yep.
How wonderful. Well, Mr. Gibbs, you've come to just the right house.
What church do you go to? There's a lovely Episcopal church practically next door with a fine cemetery, too.
I'm Presbyterian, used to be, and I'd really like to see the room.
Well, won't you sit down and try a glass of wine before we go upstairs?
I never touch it.
We make it ourselves. It's elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine? Haven't tasted elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you. Does this mean you serve meals?
Abby, Martha,
Holy Hannah, there's some young fella coming in your window. What kind of place you got here?
I'm back. She wouldn't let me in. Hello, Aunt Martha. Hello, Aunt Abby. Hello, whoever you are. God, I need that glass of wine.
Mortimer! Mortimer, not that wine. That wine's just for Mr. Gibbs.
Gibbs? Gibbs? You're a Mr. Gibbs? Do you want to get killed? Get out, 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 out.
You bet I'm getting out, young fella. Y'all are nuts, and I ain't going out that window. I'm using the proper door. Goodbye.
Poor Mr. Gibbs, wineless and roomless, but fortunately still alive, leaves the Brewster home, never to return.
Abby, Martha, you can't poison people like this. It's rude.
Rude? Oh, Abby, maybe we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
This has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing things that you like to do. Well, I don't see why you should interfere with us.
The two of you, don't move. First thing, I've got to call in and get someone to review that damn play. Hello, Al? Did you get someone to cover for me? No? Damn. All right, I'll see the first act and I'll pan the hell out of it. But look, Al, you gotta do something for me. Get a hold of O'Brien, our lawyer, the head of our legal department. Have him meet me at the theater. Now don't let me down. Okay, I'm leaving now. And Abby, and Martha, look, I've got to go to the theater. I can't get out of it. But before I go, you have to promise me something.
But we'd have to know what it is first.
You know I would do anything in the world for you. I want you to do just this little thing for me.
What do you want us to do?
Don't let anyone in this house. Don't move Mr. Hoskins. Don't do anything.
Why, dear?
I need time to think. I don't want anything to happen to you.
Well, what on the earth could happen to us?
With 12 bodies in the Panama Canal, just don't let anyone in this house. Promise me.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Remember, nobody. I'll be back as quickly as I can.
Mortimer, dismayed and distracted, leaps through the open window and hurries away.
You know, Mortimer doesn't seem quite himself today.
Well, he just became engaged. I suppose it always makes men nervous. Oh, dear now. Who could that be? I'll go, dear.
Wait. We promised Mortimer we wouldn't let anyone in.
But Martha, perhaps it's another one of our gentlemen.
Okay, I'll look. It's a man and a woman, and I've never seen them before. I'm not sure we're prepared to handle two, Abby, and we've certainly never met a woman who needs our services.
Well, I suppose we could try.
There's a car at the curb. They must have come in that.
True to their promise to Mortimer, the Brewster aunts retreat halfway up the stairs and wait for the intruders to go away until there's a sound of a key in the front door.
Oh dear.
Two suspicious characters walk in.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth. As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. Now I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, Johnny, it's a fine hideout.
The family must still live here. My old key still works. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about this place. I hope there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Yeah, I'm hungry. Oh, look, Johnny, drinks.
As though we were expected. A good omen.
Abby, the braver of the two sisters, takes the bull by the horns and edges halfway downstairs. Martha follows closely behind.
Who are you? And what are you doing?
You get out of here now. You shoo.
Why, Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, it's Jonathan, your nephew.
Jonathan, our nephew? Jonathan, my foot. You just get out of here.
But I am Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
And that's not Dr. Einstein either, despite that frightful hair.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein. This is Dr. Ulla Einstein. And I see you're still wearing the lovely garnet ring that Grandma Brewster bought in England. And you, Aunt Martha, you still wear the high collar to hide the scar where Grandfather's acid burned you.
His voice is like Jonathan's, Abby, but that face.
Have you been in an accident?
No, I have a different face. Dr. Einstein is a plastic surgeon. She changes people's faces.
But I've seen that face before, Abby. I know I have. You know, he looks just like that scoundrel Harvey Weinstein.
I'm getting mighty sick of hearing that.
Oh, easy, Johnny, easy. Don't worry, ladies. The last 5 years, I've given Johnny 3 new faces. I'm going to give him a 4th one right away. This last face, well, just before I operate, I was maybe a little intoxicated. So yeah, he maybe looks a little like that scoundrel Harvey Weinstein. Too much TV me.
You see, Doctor? You see what you've done to me? Even my own family.
Johnny. You're home safe now in this lovely house, ladies? How often Johnny tells me about Atlanta, about this house, about his aunties that he loves so much. They know you, Johnny. You aunties, you know it's Jonathan. Speak to him and tell him so.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Yes, Jonathan, where have you been?
Oh, a dozen places and a major success in each one. England, South Africa, Australia, the last 5 years in Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business there together, but it's wonderful to be in Atlanta again. And you, Abby, Martha, you don't look a day older. Just as I remember you, sweet, charming, and hospitable. And dear Teddy, did he get into politics? My little brother, Doctor, was determined to be president.
Oh, Ted is fine, just fine, and Mortimer's well, too.
I know about Mortimer. I've seen his picture at the head of his column. He's evidently fulfilled all the promise of his early, nasty nature.
Well, we're very fond of Mortimer.
Well, Jonathan, it's been very nice seeing you, but we know that you probably need to get going along now.
We haven't eaten yet today. Perhaps a little something. I remember what a fine cook you are, Aunt Martha.
Why, thank you, Jonathan. I do have a very nice pot roast in the oven.
Martha? Yes, if you'll excuse us for just a minute, Jonathan, unless that is that you have to be in a hurry to go somewhere.
No hurry at all, Aunt Abby.
We're just, well, we'll be right back.
Abby and Martha retreat to the kitchen to think about dinner and to decide what they're going to do.
Well, Johnny, we're alone. And where do we go from here? We've got to think fast. The police got pictures of that face I make you. I got to operate on you right away. And we've got to find some place for that. And we got to find a place for Mr. Spinalzo.
Don't waste any money on that rat.
But Johnny, we got a hot stiff on our hands.
Forget Mr. Spinalzo.
You can't just leave a dead body in the trunk. Oh, you shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He was a nice fellow. He gives us a lift, and what happens?
He said I look like Harvey Weinstein. And that's your work, doctor. You did this to me.
Yeah, now, Johnny, we find a place somewhere. I fix you quick. But, Johnny, I got to eat first. I'm hungry, and I'm weak. Ugh.
The aunts crack open the kitchen door and peer into the living room. Alas, it's true. The unwanted visitors are still there.
Jonathan, we've talked it over, and well, we are so glad that you remembered us and that you took the time to come by and see us. But you know, Jonathan, you were never happy in this house. And well, we were never happy when you were in this house. So we've just come out to say goodbye.
And Abby, I can't say that your feeling towards me comes as a surprise. I spent a great many hours regretting the many heartaches I must have given you as a boy.
Well, you were quite a trial, Jonathan.
But my great disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. I promised her that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Atlanta, I'd take the time to bring her here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Oh, how nice.
Martha, I'm sorry. I'm just afraid there won't be enough.
Abby, it's a pretty good sized pot roast, and I think the least we can do is invite them.
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Fine. We'll be back in a moment.
Abby and Martha retreat to the kitchen once more, hoping to come up with a better plan to oust the intruders.
Oi, take it easy, Johnny. Your aunties, they don't want us here.
We are here for dinner, aren't we?
Yeah, but after dinner?
Leave it to me, Doctor. I'll handle it. Why, this house could be our headquarters for years.
Oh, that would be beautiful, Johnny. This nice quiet house, those aunties of yours, that sweet ladies, I love them already. So, we are staying? I get the bags, yeah, but what if they say no?
Doctor, two helpless old women?
It's like a dream come true, a beautiful dream, only I hope we're not dreaming. It's so peaceful here.
That's what makes this house so perfect for us. It's so peaceful.
End of Act 1.